If you don't have a microphone, then maybe you could just tell us in the chat window on the right-hand side. I see there's a lot of people coming in. We've only scheduled this for half an hour, so we've got quite a lot to get through, so I will get started at past. But if you can let us know in the chat window if you can hear me, then that would be good. Just maybe tell us where you're all from as well. I think it's always quite interesting to know where everyone. Yeah, there's a flag as well that you can ask. It's probably better you just put your questions though in the chat, because it's quite good that everybody else can see the question and maybe they've got the same question. So we've got Warwickshire, we've got Manchester, we've got Bilbao in Spain. That's good. We've got someone. We've got London, Liverpool. Anywhere else? Latifat, I know that you're quite far away. Can you hear me okay? We've got Saudi Arabia. So we're getting round to quite a few places. Okay, Monica. So how many have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13. Someone else just coming in. Okay, so it's past, so I'm going to start. This will be my two colleagues, John and Chikako, are here, so they're going to be taking questions. If there's anything that you want to ask me as you're going along, you could either type it into the chat window or you can open your microphone, and I hope you all know how to do that. It tells us here on the little diagram that's there just now. You can open your microphone and start speaking, and I'll try and answer your questions as we're going along, which might be easier. But then also there'll be time for questions at the end as well. So, John, I think you might have to stop sharing, or oh no, I can do it. I can stop you sharing. Okay. So, okay, hopefully now you can see what's on my monitor. I meant to log my iPad in. Is that out? You can see that Word document. So just quickly, the things that I'm going to cover. So we're going to be talking about Mendeley, which is a reference manager application that's free. So I'm going to tell you how to download it, and I'll show you how to download it and register. And then about adding your tools. There's a couple of tools that you'll need to add. How you get references in from a journal. How you add a paper from your desktop. Just correct that spelling. How to add a book from Amazon. I'll tell you why I'm going to do that. Then add a file manually. Add something manually to the application. Annotate a paper in Mendeley, and then finally how to create a bibliography. So hopefully I'll manage to get through all of that without too much trouble. So, so the first thing that you need to know, I wonder if I can just make this a bit bigger so I can see the chat window. Okay, that's better. All right, I've got the questions. So maybe somebody could type that address in. So it's mendeley.com. Yeah, you do need to create an account, and it'll ask you a couple of questions about your studies, if you're a student and what kind of student you are and what your area of interest is. But it's free, obviously, to create an account. And once you've gone through the account creation, just to ask you a few things here. Try and remember your username and password. You then get into the application where you'll download the application for whatever device you want. And you can it's available for all devices. So it's available for PC, it's available for Mac, it's available for iPad, Android. So you can have it on your phone. You might find that that's useful if somebody mentions a paper to you. You could then search for the paper, add it to your reference library. But because you've got one sign-in, means that everything will be synchronized to the desktop application that you have on your computer. You can have it on more than one computer, but always sign in with the same account, and then you can synchronize between all your different devices. So it's really quite flexible. There are other reference managers applications, EndNote, and there's one called Reference Manager, and maybe some people will have experience of using these. And we're not saying that you have to stop using this, but I think when we discovered that this was free, we just thought it's something that people really should be using, because it will save you time in the end when it comes to doing your bibliography, when you're writing your assignments. So I'm not going to actually go through the whole. It's very easy to to sign up and download the application. I will just sign in here though. Oh, it seems to have remembered me. I wonder if that's right. Okay. So once you've got the first time that you sign up, you'll then be taking a page that will give you instructions on exactly what to do, and it'll tell you what application to download, and it'll then take you to another page where it'll tell you how to do these two things that I'm going to do now. Because once you've downloaded the application to your computer, there's two things. I've got the application here, so it's completely empty. There's nothing been added here. But from the Mendeley desktop application, okay, thanks, John. That's a good way of answering that. So once you've got the application here, there's two things that you must do. From the Tools menu, you click on here, and the first thing that we're going to do is install the web importer. So I click on that button. It takes me back to my browser. I'm using Firefox here, but I've tried it with all the browsers. It'll work with Firefox, it'll work with Chrome, Safari, and it'll even work with Internet Explorer. So we're installing what's called the web importer, and I'll show you how to use this shortly. But all I need to do here is, can you see this grey button here, Save to Mendeley? I click with my left mouse button and then drag that up and put it onto my bookmarks toolbar. Now you might find, depending on what browser you're using, you might find that your bookmark toolbar isn't showing. So you'll need to have that on view. For Firefox, you go to it depends what version that you are on Firefox or Chrome. It's going to be slightly different for each one, but basically you need to look for a view button, and the bookmarks toolbar I've selected to view it, and that's this one here. So you can store quite a lot of bookmarks here. If you were at My Manchester, you could then drag My Manchester down onto this toolbar, and it just gives you a quick shortcut. So the first thing was install the the web importer, Save to Mendeley. The next thing that you do from the application is install the the MS Word plugin. So I click on that, and I've just cut myself out there. You need to have Word closed to do that, so that was a bit silly. So again, from the Mendeley desktop, you click on the Tools button, install MS Word plugin, and then have a look at this little screen here, because it tells you exactly how to find once you get into Word. In this particular version of Word, it's telling me that I'll find the toolbar on the References tab, and it's Mendeley Cytomatic. That's what I'll look for, and I'll show you that when I get to Word. But it just tells you, depending on what version of Word you have, it'll change whatever instruction it gives you there, because it's different on different versions. If you're not using Word and you're maybe using one of the free sort of Word lookalikes, you can also install the reference importer onto that as well. So if we say OK, so that's how to install the two tools that you'll need to use while you're using Mendeley. Any great questions coming up or anything? Okay. So how do we get a reference from the from a journal or whatever into Mendeley. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do now. Let's go into Open Word. So I'm in my browser. So there's a couple of different ways of doing this. So I'm going to show you a few ways now. If you were in Blackboard and say you were in health promotion and you're in the content, I'm going to use the bibliography at the end of health promotion just to get some references. So I'm just going to pick one of these. So we've got a journal article here. It's telling me that it's online. So this is similar to you having clicked on a required reading, and you've clicked on the link to show you, to take you to the reading. And in this case, what it's done, it's actually taken us to the PDF. So what I can do here is I can download this PDF by clicking on the download button. Somebody's microphone's open. Maybe that's better. Thanks very much. So I've clicked on the download button. I've clicked on OK. That's going to be saved in my download folder. I'm just going to go to Blackboard now and just look for another one. I think this is the one that I tried yesterday. So this one's taken us to the Lancet. Now I don't have this isn't the PDF. If I wanted the PDF, I would click on the button up here. This is just the actual journal article that's hosted at the it's hosted by Science Direct. What I can do here is when I'm viewing this this particular article, I can click on this button here, and this is the Save to Mendeley button that we added earlier on. Click on that button, and then what it's done here, it's gone and it's collected the information that I need here to put it into Mendeley. So when I click on Save, it saved that into Mendeley. And when I go to the application itself, there's nothing here as yet. Click on All Documents. This is where all my documents will be. If I click on Synchronize, it's brought down that paper. And that's how quick and easy it is to get a journal article into Mendeley. I haven't had to do anything here at all, but it's brought in all the information that I would need: the title, the author, the journal, the year, the volume, the issue, the pages. I just need to switch off Siri's switching on. Sorry, my phone was kind of interrupting there. So it's brought in all the information. And in this case, because I've downloaded from the Lancet, it has actually downloaded the PDF as well. Now, not all journals do that, but some of them do. And you might have noticed when I was doing the import that it said, it gave you the option, shall I download the paper as well? So you've gone to the journal article. Rather than downloading the PDF the way that I did the first time, it's actually done the whole job with clicking on the Save to Mendeley button. Not every single journal works the same way, and you need to be a little bit flexible about how you approach this. But more or less, all the journals will bring in the information you need to make the reference properly, but some of them will bring the paper in as well. If I just minimize things down a little bit. So I'm here with Mendeley. I've only got one reference here, but you remember I downloaded one before. So if I just go to my download folder, here's this journal article that I downloaded just a few minutes ago, because I can see that it was on the 14th. I can drag that from my computer, from the where everything's stored in your computer, drag it straight into Mendeley, drop it off, and then when I go into Mendeley, it's brought in that paper. Now, one thing to notice here, it's telling me that the details aren't quite correct, and there's something about that reference that's missing. And I can see here that the actual journal title is missing from there. So Mendeley will warn you if there's something that's not quite right about the reference, and then you'll need to go and correct it, because you don't want to go and cite that without actually having the name of the paper. But as I said, because you put it in manually like that, it has actually given me a copy of the paper, and I can click on that and it will display within Mendeley. Now I can see here that it's the Health Education Research Theory and Practice Journal. So I could then go to here and type that in manually. And that will then be stored. You can use the search button, and if possible, so it's telling me now that the details are now correct. I think there was I got the green arrow, so I think I can now say that that's a good reference that you could use as part of your bibliography if you're wanting to cite something from that paper. So that's two ways I've covered. I've covered how to get in with using the Save to Mendeley button. I've imported a paper from my desktop or from my computer by just dragging it in. And the other way that I wanted to show you was maybe you might be wanting to, you might want to reference a book. Just let me get some details. So Mendeley should work with some other sites, although on testing it, they don't sometimes work as good as they maybe could. But if I go to Amazon, and I'll just put the title of a book in here. This is one of the books that they use in health promotion, theory and methods. If I click on the book's title, you can try using the Save to Mendeley button and see what happens. Now we might be lucky. So it's telling me here that it couldn't detect the bibliographic metadata, but it's going to create an entry in Mendeley with some of the information that it found. So I'll go with that for now, and then I'll go into Mendeley, I'll go back to my library, and I'll click on the sync button, and here's the book. So there's not very much information here, even just in this sort of data window. If we look back at Amazon, quite clearly the title of the book is Foundations for Health, 3rd edition. But what it seems to have done here is it's picked up everything, and it's picked up the authors as well. So I need to get rid of some of this information and make it into a proper reference. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the first author, and then if I click into authors, you can see here when I've clicked into authors that it's given me a bit of an instruction as to how you have to actually enter an author in here. So it's last name, then it's comma, then it's first name, and then on a new line it's last name, comma, first name. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to paste in the first author, and then I'm going to go back to here and get the second author, go back into the author. If I put my cursor here and then press enter, I can then put another author in there. So I've got the two authors. I'm going to get rid of all this other information that's gone here, so I'm just going to put my cursor in there and delete that out until we get back to the title of the book, which I'm just going to take that back to here. So the title of the book is Foundations for Public Health. I'm going to have to find out where that was published. Now, if I go back to Amazon and I look down here for the information, I can see here, this is the publisher. So I can take all of that, copy it, go back to Mendeley. Sorry, one thing I forgot to do, I need to change this to tell Mendeley that this is a book that we're referencing. So the type of reference, scroll up here, change it to book. And then one of the things that you need when you're doing a book reference is the publisher. So I go down to where it says publisher, and then I can paste that information in there. Other essential things I'll need will be the year. So just let's go back to Amazon again. I know that this one was, the third edition was published in 2009. So I can come back to here, complete that. The reason that I'm showing you this is that you might, in some cases, have to add a reference manually. It'll work very, very well with journal articles. It'll work a little bit with a book using Amazon, but you might find that you have to reference something. Just go back into Blackboard. I know down the bottom here, there's a World Health, WHO. Let's try this one. Now, it says on the Mendeley website, it does say that it works with the World Health Organization site, but when I click Save to Mendeley here, all it's done, it's got a little bit more with this one. Let's just click Save and see what we get when we go to Mendeley. You can also click on this button here, Open in Mendeley. That'll do the synchronization and then take you to the application. Okay, so I can see here that what it's done is it's telling me that this report from the WHO, it's from the WHO, but it's put it into the title. So I would have to edit that out. Go to author. Now, what I want to do in this case is put WHO, but I need to tell it that that's an institution, an organization, and it's not a last name and first name. I also need to change this to say that it's a report. And then as best you can, fill in the rest of the information. Obviously, you need the year, how many pages it is. What you will find, if it's something that's come from the material, we'll have put, as best we can, a complete reference here with all the information that you need. So it might just be a case of copying what's in there. I'm stressing that the manual sort of entry a little bit because you might find in some courses that that's what you end up doing quite a lot of, is putting these in manually. But the advantage of doing this is that when it comes to creating a bibliography at the end, at least you'll have all your references in Mendeley ready for you to use. Let's have a quick look back here. So, there. So we've added references for a journal from the desktop, from Amazon. We've added, let me just show you something else about adding something manually. If you haven't managed to get any information from the Save to Mendeley button at all, then you can go up to here where it says Add Files, click on the arrow and add entry manually. Then this small box will come up. You make it a little bigger if you like. We've got all the different types of references here that can be added to Mendeley. So from a bill, I've never entered one of those before, but from a bill right down to a working paper, a web page, a thesis, a TV broadcast. There's many different ones. I suppose the main ones you'll be using are journal article, reports, and web page. Because sometimes you might, I think we do this when we're putting the references in for the course. Sometimes when it's an article like the WHO report, you could enter that as a web page as well, because you can then actually put the web reference that's up here into Mendeley, and then that'll appear as part of the citation when you put it in into the bibliography. So depending on what you've picked here, depends on what information it's going to ask you for. So for a journal, title, author, the name of the journal, the year, the volume, the issue. I wouldn't bother so much about the abstract because you don't need that for the reference. That's probably for your own reference, really. Somebody just got their microphone open there. Maybe you could just close your mic. No. Okay, that's good. Thanks very much. And even though you've added, even though you're adding an entry manually, and you maybe had a copy of the paper, if it was a WHO report that you had downloaded as a PDF or something from the NHS, one of their reports, you can still add that file in here so that it's in. This will manage also, manage your files as well as managing your references. So it's a kind of one-stop shop for quite a lot of different things. So I hope I've explained that. How are we doing the time? We've got about 5 minutes left. So why have we put all this information in here? I hope that's not a fire drill. Is it coming? It is. So we've got a fire drill now. We seem to get one of these every week, and we're going to have to leave the building. If you've used the library website to maybe find a paper, here's one that I just happen to know of. I've searched for that. It's the first one that's come up here. So I can click on the View It button. It tells me that it's available from Wiley Online. I can then click on that. The paper is open but not the PDF. Click on the Save to Mendeley button. It's got all the information here that's needed. Click on Save. Back to Mendeley. Do the synchronization, and then that's another paper added. And you haven't had to do very much at all to get something else in there. So I think that's maybe covered all the different ways. So the last part is how do you create the bibliography? So I have a file ready here to demonstrate that. So this is your essay that you've just sat spending weeks writing, and probably as you're going along you'll be putting your references in, so you'll be quoting people and making reference to who said this and who said that. So it's quite easy from this point, but you probably wouldn't do this all at the end. I think you'll be doing this as you're going along, but I'm just going to do it quite quickly here. So remember when after I had installed Mendeley, there was two things that I did. I went to the Tools menu, I installed the web importer, and I also installed the Word plugin. So when I go to Word, I think this is, what version of Word's this? 2010. I think this is Word 2010. If you've got a previous version of Word, the Mendeley toolbar will be located in a different place, but it'll point it out to you when you've set it up. So I know that I need to go to the References menu, and then there's a whole section here which is about Mendeley Cytomatic. There's also other types of citation things here, but the one that we're using is Mendeley Cytomatic. And what I want to do is I want to insert a citation here at this point. So I've put my cursor there, and then I click on the Insert Citation button, and this small box opens up. Now if I know the reference that I'm talking about here, I could type in here the name of one of the authors. So that's why I got that one, because I knew that that was one that I would remember. It's highlighted the only paper that's got that author in, and then I click on OK. Come down to this one here, doing the same again. I want to put a reference in here. Insert citation, but this time I'm not too sure who it is that I want to put in here. So I can click on the Go to Mendeley button. It takes me to Mendeley, and I think, oh yes, that's the one that I wanted to cite. So I highlight it, and then I click on the Cite button. Down to here, Insert Citation, go to Mendeley again. Let's put that one in this time. Click on the Cite button. Might as well just do another couple. Go to Mendeley. Don't think we've had that one in. And then finally this one here. Insert citation. Go to Mendeley and we'll put that WHO one. So I've put all my references in. Come to the last page of the assignment. My bibliography. Leave your cursor there. Go back to the References tab. Onto the Mendeley site and click on the button here that says Insert Bibliography. And as if by magic, all the references have then appeared in a list. In this case, Mendeley has been set to use the Vancouver style. So that's where you have just a number annotating where the reference should be. If I wanted to use, we accept either the Harvard or the Vancouver style. If I wanted it to be in the Harvard style, I would click here and then automatically it'll update to the author and the year, and then it'll change the style of the bibliography here at the end. You don't really need to insert the bibliography until you're right at the very end of the assignment, but you might find that as you're working through that you chop and change how the references are in, or even you might do this after you've created your bibliography, and all you need to do is click the refresh button. If I change that back to Vancouver and then I decide to delete that reference there, so I've just highlighted it and deleted it, the numbers are a bit out of sync now. Just clicking on the refresh button and then it automatically deletes that from the bibliography and renumbers these correctly. And if it was in the Harvard style, it would display them as per, you know, the way that you wanted. So that's the two things about. Well, that was really to finish it off. But I've just remembered that in my haste to leave the room for the fire, there was one thing that I wanted to show you. Another. Yeah, I'm seeing your question there, Ruth. Maybe you could stay on and just give us a bit more information about that. I think it's fair to say that as long as you provide as much information as you can for the reference using, you know, all the required fields in Mendeley, I don't think anyone's going to necessarily go through it with, you know, checking every, you know, single element is correct. I know that if you look on the University Library website, there's maybe could somebody find that? The thing on the website, the University Library website, where it tells you about all the referencing. There's a page somewhere on the university website that tells you for each kind of reference the different elements that you need to include. But I think it's probably fair to say that, you know, as long as you put a good amount of information in the reference, which would allow someone to then go and trace that source, then that's what you need to be doing. So I know that you've hung on. I know that there's quite a lot of people have hung on here, and we're kind of away over time. If there's any more questions, obviously keep them coming, but I'm just going to show you one more thing while you can either be writing your questions or hold on to your questions for the end. I know that these two particular papers here, that these two references, both have PDFs attached because they were imported in. One of the things, I suppose this is another thing that I did kind of want to show you. If you were bringing a paper in from the BMJ and you do save to Mendeley, I know that hopefully it seems to be taking a little bit of time. Okay. It's found the article, it's got all the information, but the BMJ, for some reason, it doesn't import the paper, the PDF, like it did. So it might be worthwhile, rather than adding that this way, it might be worthwhile going... Oh, I didn't mean to press the save button there, to be honest. It might be worth going to the PDF, like I let you see before, clicking on the download button, and then bringing it in that way, and then you'll have the actual copy of the paper. But what I wanted, one of the good things about having the paper actually stored in here as well, so all I did there, in this case for this reduction in smoking prevalence article, I clicked on this little PDF sign here. I could also have just clicked on the reference and then scrolled down here where all the details are and clicked here. And what that does is it opens up another window within Mendeley, and then if you see all these buttons that you have here at the top, it gives you some other options that you can do. And one of the things that you might want to do is to use this highlighter pen. There's two ways of doing that. You can highlight text, so you're clicking on it. I could just go over that. Oh, there we are. Why is it not? Oh yeah, it was just taking a bit of time. So as I click and drag over a piece of text, it leaves that highlight on there. And even if I close that paper and then opened it again, those highlights will still be there. You can also put a small note. Like a little post-it that you might use, you know, if back in the old days when people used to print off the papers, you would sit and highlight with a pen with all different coloured marker pens, the really important points, and you also might stick some post-its on. So it gives you the flexibility of being able to do that as well, and I think that's quite good, really. When you've clicked off the note, it goes away, and then you just click on it again to see it. So you can add these notes all over. If you wanted to remove it, you can click on the X, and if you wanted to remove the highlighting, you click on the highlighting, right click, and then remove highlight, which obviously you can't do in the paper copy, but you can do in this one. That is all that I wanted to let you see, and I hope that's been useful. It's always obviously been a little bit rushed at the end. If you want to open your microphone now, then please do. You can see where the little microphone sign is below your name. You can open that up and ask questions. If you need to go, then obviously, you know, you can go now, or type any other questions. Is there any questions that I've missed in there? I think 10 said we did the first. If you want to use the same reference into, I think what happens is that you would do that as normal, as you would do in any other sort of essay. You would just reference it as you would do, but it'll only be referenced once within the bibliography. It was Kitty that asked that. Are you still here, Kitty? Yes, you are. I think that's how that works. Although I see someone's maybe kind of answered you. Anybody get any questions? If there's anything crops up about using Mendeley, then get in touch. It's you might find that if you've used it and then maybe not used it for a little while, that it'll want you to update it, and that's because they're very active in keeping this application up to date with maybe new features and ironing out little bugs that it might have. So it's something that I think is probably still in development, but it's come a long way from when they started. Oh, thanks, Bethan. I think it's just crazy. If the reason we wanted to stress, we did this at the induction and also at the online the online induction and the residential when people come in. If you're not using one of these pieces of software to help you with writing your assignments, I think you're a bit crazy, because it's going to save you a lot of work. You need to put a little bit of work in to get the references correct in there, but then once they're in, then that's in and you can keep them. You can also import from other reference manager types, like Reference Manager EndNote. If you've got a library, you can import that into here. How do you create more than one library? I don't know if that's possible. What you can do is, in your library here, Ruth, I'm just answering your question, all your documents will be shown here. Looks like it's trying to, don't know why it's saying it's doing something. All your documents will be shown here. What you can do is you can put folders in here. So if you wanted to, if I create another folder for health promotion theory and methods, from my all documents, if I know that that one there is particular to health promotion free methods, I can click it and put it there. In EBP, in maybe this one here was to do with EBP, I can click and drag that and put it in here. It's not taking away from all documents, and if you wanted to do a quick search, you can obviously order these by title or by author or by year or by publication. They'll always still be in your all documents section, but the ones that you've put into EBP, that's it would just show those. So it's just like a little filter really. HPTM, it'll just show those. So you might want to, as you're doing that, create a folder here and then add them. But you can always do that at a later date. You know, the most important thing I think is to get them in here, and at least you know that you've got them, and then you can sort them later and use them for your referencing. Any more questions? So we've gone quite over time because of the fire drill, but what I'll do is we'll make the recording available once we've got it, and we'll add this little bit on at the end. And if anybody's got any questions, then please come back and let us know. But thanks very much for coming along. The recording probably won't be till tomorrow or maybe Thursday. So sometimes it takes a wee while to get it from the server, but we'll let you know. Okay, thanks very much. Good luck. Bye bye.